Hello, welcome. I want to take you through how we can draw an ellipse using concentric circle method. Now for concentric circle method, we need to have a major axis and a minor axis. In this case, we are taking an example of a major axis being 90, the minor axis being 60 millimeters. So the first thing we need to do is to draw those two axes. So we need a vertical edge. This vertical edge will give us the two axes. Like for this case, I want to start with the minor axis, that is 60. So I'll have to draw an axis somewhere in the midway of the paper. So realign the edge of the paper that way. Then you draw your axis. So that is the horizontal axis. Then we can have another axis. And this one here, we need to have a vertical one, so we need to adjust again. We fix the edge of the paper so that this one is vertical, and then we draw anywhere you want to come up with an ellipse. So anywhere you can draw a vertical center line here, which is going to act as another axis. Those two axes are going to be used. The next step we are going to do is now to measure the axis. Let's take that on the horizontal axis we are going to have major, and then on the vertical one we are going to have minor. So that means I measure 90 from a measuring instrument. And before I measure 90, because we want to measure from the center, we don't actually just measure 90, measure 45, so that we can have 45 on this side and 45 on this other side, totaling to 90. So we can have our 45, that's 4.5. We make an arc, this one gives us 90. The vertical, we have 60, so we measure 30. This 30, we again come here, we mark off 30 up, 30 below, to give us the minor axis. Then we can now say, let's call this axis as A, B being our major, C, D being our minor. The next step is we are going to draw what we call auxiliary circles using the axis as their diameters. These two auxiliary axes, like we can have the first one for this diameter CD, so we can have the radius CD, then we draw that auxiliary circle, and another one again we come to A or B, and we draw another auxiliary circle. These two circles are called they can be concentric circles, and they are as well called the auxiliary circles. The next step is to subdivide the outer circle into 12 equal parts. Now, how do we divide a circle into equal parts? We take the radius, once we have the radius, with the radius, we can start at the point of intersection between the circle and the axis. We make axis from every point of intersection to the circumference in that order, in that manner, and proceed that way, this way, come here, you proceed, and lastly you finish this. Okay, then we are going to have more diameters passing through the center, joining all those points of intersection. So this one here is a diameter. Draw another diameter. We draw this diameter. We draw this other one. We draw this other diameter passing through the center. And lastly, we draw this. We draw this other one, again passing through. Good. The next step is at every point where those diameters meets the inner circle, we shall be drawing what we call horizontals. Horizontals using a horizontal edge like a T-square. And then at every point where the diameters meets the outer circle, we draw verticals. And this one we shall as well use a straight edge and a set square. So we can begin by drawing horizontals. So for horizontals, we can say the first horizontal is this one here, because they are going simultaneously. So we have it. We can have from here, we draw horizontal, just continuous line, it should just continue, and then we can slide upwards. Because we have this point, we have this, we also have this and this. So again you come here, you ensure this side is held on your edge vertically so that you come up with horizontal lines. This horizontal here, you draw it. Again you come here, you draw it. Okay, we are through with the upper part. Then we come to the lower part again. You repeat the same procedure. Point of intersection between the inner circle and the diameters. These diameters, we can as well call them radials. So these are line. This line, don't mind where it is going, but you just draw it. And lastly, we have this. So you will have to ensure this one again is held firmly. And then you draw it. You draw it. You draw it. There it goes. There it goes. That's the point of intersection between diameters and the inner circle. We have lines going on the opposite directions, that is horizontal lines. The next thing we have to draw now are the verticals, so that where the diameters meet the outer circles, we drop verticals. Those verticals will be meeting the horizontals at a given point. So the first one, we can have the straight edge, horizontal edge. Once you have it that way, you can have your T-square that will give you the vertical, so that now this diameter meets the outer circle at that point, you can drop a line from that point vertically downwards. Then you come to this other one, it meets it again here, you drop it, you come to the other side where the outer circle meets the diameters, we drop vertical. Then lastly, come to this point, you drop. As you can see, these horizontals and the verticals are meeting at some points. Good. Now we are through with this first part. We come to the other part, which is the lower part. We do the same thing. We ensure we align it. Then with your vertical edge, where the diameters meet the outer circle, like now in this case, here, we drop a vertical. Now we come to this point again, come here, we align it, we come here, we drop a vertical, and then in that order we come here, where it meets the outer, we drop a vertical. Then lastly, we shall have to come here, this one here, we take this, then again we draw a vertical. Once we are through that, realize that at every point of intersection between verticals and horizontals marks the points along our expected ellipse. So we are going to use a pencil, a HB pencil with a smooth curve. We join all those points to the outer part here, and then to the outer part of the smaller circle. So from here we can move with it slowly, slowly. You can twist your paper. If it's fixed, you need to move. Then we go with it up to that point, and again we are going with them. Then it will come and pass through. You ensure it is a continuous line. So once we are here, you again move. You move slowly. Once it reaches there, come with it. There, you go with it. You go with it through all those points of intersection, and you finish it. So this is how we shall draw our ellipse. We only needed to have the major axis AB and the minor axis CD, and then those axes will assist us get two concentric circles, the inner circle and the outer circle. These circles, we are calling them auxiliary circles. Then we need it now just to have the other diameters dividing the circles into 12 parts. Then from there you can now have points of intersection between diameters and the two circles, so that where the diameters intersect the outer circle, we have what you call verticals. Then where the diameters meet the inner circle, we have what you call horizontals. So when horizontals meet the verticals, they give us points of our expected ellipse, and then we join with a smooth curve. Thank you for attending.